Took an 18-month court fight for her to get to the bench, and in the following year and a half as a juvenile court judge in Hamilton County, Tracy Hunter has been no stranger to controversy.
So tonight we bring you a look into just what is happening in her courtroom, a courtroom that news reporters are often excluded by Judge Hunter. Jeff Hirsch and photographer Dan Cavins have our exclusive Local 12 News investigation.
Your Honor, I apologize for what happened yesterday.
It's not the intention of this court to embarrass you in any sense of the matter.
It was, to say the least, an unusual session. Tracy Hunter became judge and prosecutor, running a contempt hearing against attorney Jay Clark, calling people to testify and asking them questions.
Did the attorneys agree to the time?
But if a lawyer objected, Hunter would either sustain or overrule those objections to her questions to her witnesses.
Is that correct?
Objection, leading.
Is that correct? I'm sorry, overruled.
Bill Gallagher was Clark's attorney at the hearing.
You sort of question whether or not you were really in a true courtroom. You hear about star chamber type of deals. That's sort of what I felt was going on.
Did Your Honor, Judge Tracy Hunter, tell you what to say at today's proceedings?
You weren't sure what witness was going to come next. You weren't sure what was going to be done next, and who do you turn to for help if the judge is the one that's conducting the hearing and calling the witnesses and making all the decisions.
What do you recall?
Going to object, that calls for hearsay. Statements made outside of the presence of this court being offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
Okay, thank you. Overruled.
This saga involving attorney Jay Clark is one of Tracy Hunter's many controversies, one the public has not seen yet. The issue here, whether Clark had been properly notified of a time change or was deliberately late for a hearing. Clark's attorney Bill Gallagher said an independent officer, not Judge Hunter, should decide.
And I think the evidence establishes you've already begun a fact investigation and interviewing of witnesses, that you should not be the magistrate and you should not be the hearing officer.
So please respect Your Honor, which is why we're here today.
And I think she forgot that she was elected, not appointed or anointed or white smoke sent up. She's a common pleas judge. She's not the Lord Master of everything that she has contact with.
Of course, Clark and his attorney Bill Gallagher were involved in the case, so you'd expect them not to be happy. So we took a videotape of the hearing to an independent set of eyes. Marty Pinellas is not only a respected Cincinnati lawyer, but is also past president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Safe to say he's seen it all, or at least he has now.
It was bizarre at best. It was one of the most unusual things I have ever seen in over 45 years of practice. It was at times comical, at times pathetic. It was a hearing like none other.
My exhibit 1, show it to the council, please. Those are my notes. You can take it back, or you take that from him, please. Take the paper, I said. Excuse me, I was writing my notes on that, but that was not intended for you.
Tracy Hunter's road to the bench was a rocky one. On the ballot in 2010, but not sworn in until May 2012. There was a bitter court fight over some contested ballots, which Hunter ultimately won.
The best comment that I could give is that the manner in which she came to the bench may make her feel that everyone is against her. And they were at the beginning.
But once on the bench, the judge found herself the center of concern. Hunter has been named in at least 24 lawsuits or complaints, most filed by the Public Defender's Office, saying she unnecessarily delayed decisions in about 20 cases, potentially leaving children in limbo over custody or adoption. She's been sued by news media outlets over courtroom and document access, and allegations of backdating case filings are being investigated by a special prosecutor. Judge Hunter is not just sitting back and taking the criticism. She's asking the Ohio Supreme Court to throw out the contempt of court ruling against her in the media access case, that ruling from the Court of Appeals. Hunter has also forwarded 75 pages of documents to the Supreme Court about her caseload, claiming another juvenile court judge, the prosecutor's office, and the public defender's office have purposefully misled the Supreme Court about Hunter's cases, forcing her to spend hours and days researching frivolous claims in order to provide accurate information. As for the allegation of backdating of court case documents, Hunter calls those frivolous and unmerited allegations, which are part of an attack and harassment against her by the prosecutor's office. But Local 12 News has learned of another allegation of backdating, this one involving a phone message. An internal memo from the prosecutor's office sent to the special prosecutor details a voicemail left by Judge Hunter's staff for Attorney Jay Clark regarding a different hearing. The memo states, the caller attempts to deceive Mr. Clark about the date the call was made. The answering machine time-called function exposes this act of dishonesty. Here's part of the call telling Clark his client
will be on Judge Hunter's docket at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning, the 20th of August.
And in a juvenile court entry, Judge Hunter says Clark failed to appear despite several attempts by court personnel to contact him. Bailiff left message 8/19/2013 on voicemail. But Clark says this was the answering machine's record.
Message recorded on August 21st at 8:40 a.m.
I think that kind of speaks for itself. I think it suggests there's a serious problem in her courtroom.
Tracy Hunter is certainly under the microscope. I've spoken with a lot of attorneys and courtroom observers who believe that Hunter may indeed have been well-intended before her surprise election, but she had limited courtroom experience, and now she's in over her head. Instead of asking for help, she's lashing out at her critics.
I think it's evidence today, the disrespect that you are showing to the bench is reflective of why we're in the middle of this hearing today.
Ultimately, after a hearing which lasted more than an hour, Judge Hunter dismissed the contempt charge against Attorney Clark. Local 12 News has been requesting an interview with Judge Hunter since September 6th. She responded to a third email request on October 14th, saying she would respond to questions that we had submitted to her via email, quoting her now, as soon as my schedule permits. 3 weeks later, after she gave an on-camera interview to another local media outlet on November 3rd, we asked yet again for an interview with her and even postponed the broadcast of this report to give her additional time to respond. Yesterday, Judge Hunter responded to our fifth and latest email request for an interview, telling us she's been out of the office on bereavement leave for the past 2 weeks following the death of her father. In a separate news release issued yesterday by her office, the judge promoted the fact that she attended a day-long judicial initiative meeting in Columbus last Wednesday. Our request for an interview with Judge Hunter about this story remains open. Jeff Hirsch, Local 12 News.